management or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our quality in mind.
Swap out.
Where we focus
So the reason we didn't do it that way, so look at this.
Using our voices.
If I go down and pull up where we're supposed to be, the time is 12:02.
Right now.
We're off time. So it wouldn't play correct. Okay.
So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
All right, man, take it easy.
My name is Clayton Williams with today's Black Focus Headline News.
Well, why didn't that play? Let's try that again.
Good afternoon, my name is Clayton Williams with today's Black Focus Headline News. And today's headline news, Nike nixes Betsy Ross flag sneaker after Colin Kaepernick intervenes and the company is facing backlash. A black hospital patient went on a walk with an IV drip and police arrested him on suspicion of stealing medical equipment. Lawmakers, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, lash out over conditions following border facility tours. A cartoonist loses his job after an illustration of Trump goes viral. Now he's speaking out. That's today's Black Focus Headline News. Now it's time to get focused with more Black Focus Radio.
Yo, what's happening? It's the Tuesday edition of Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me if you want to talk on the show. You can also hit me up on Facebook. And you can hit me up also on YouTube. I want y'all to go out and join the YouTube channel. Go out and subscribe, man. I need some subscribers. I'm getting a few people here and there, just, some people here, some people there. But I need you all my friends, to go out to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Okay? Just go out and search for Black Focus Radio. It's easy to find. Just get it done. Okay? I want to get like 1,000 before it's too late. Can y'all help a black man out? I'm going to keep reminding you all of that. And tell your friends too, hey man, know this cat, man, he kind of crazy. He knows a little bit about he know a little bit about a lot and a lot about a little bit. Go out and check him out, man. I think you'll enjoy it. I know this is the holiday weekend for some. I'm laughing at my boy Jason Hotep, who's complaining that why didn't he just take the entire week off? Good question, Jason Hotep. Look, there's a cardinal rule when it talks about national holidays, okay? Now, I don't support or celebrate the 4th of July. But I do take advantage of the 4th of July, meaning I have free days. I'm off. So you have to plan those accordingly. So what you have to do when it comes to planning, if your holiday is in the middle of the week, like if it comes on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, that means you just take the whole damn week off. Okay? I'm serious. If the holiday comes on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, you take the whole week off, man. What's wrong with y'all? Man, y'all don't know what's up, man. I got to teach y'all everything. Everything. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. We got to do Black Facts today. We've got interns in the office. Next week, I'm going to have them running my show, and that's going to be an adventure. So we're teaching them everything we can. So let's see, they won't be here Thursday or Friday. Well, they could be here. I ain't going to be here. So y'all just come up here and stand around and look. I don't care. I'll actually be in Kansas City. I'm looking forward to going to Kansas City because I'm going to the Negro League Baseball Museum. That's not why I'm going to Kansas City. But that ought to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. And so that ought to be fun. But they'll be here through Wednesday. And then when we get back on Monday, I'll get them started on running my show. That means I'll be sitting on the other side of the desk, and either Clayton or Jemiah will be sitting on this side of the desk, and they'll be all nervous and scared. I've already threatened them, and you all know I take my show seriously, and I don't like screw-ups and mess-ups or anything like that. So I've already threatened them that if they screw up my show, that I'm taking a hand. I'm just taking a hand, okay? I'm not going to take the whole arm. I'm just going to take the hand, okay? So they'll be okay. They'll be able to tell me which hand they want me to take. So like if they left-handed, I'll take the right hand, and so on and so forth. They like, yeah, they don't know me, do they, y'all? They don't realize I'm crazy. So I got 13 personalities, so if I hurt you, then I can just say I'm crazy. They're like, this dude crazy, man. I know, exactly. Anyway, we're going to have a fun show today. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to do Black Facts today. That was one Black Fact that I wanted to look up real fast. So let me do that. And eventually I'm going to interview both of them on the show. Okay? Y'all didn't know that, did you? So one day next week, we're going to interview Clayton Williams and Jemiah Ivy. All right? So you better start thinking about something you want to talk about yourself. Okay? Practice. All right? Let me tell you something. What a lot of people don't realize, when you hear these people do these interviews, they've practiced doing them. Okay? So although practice comes by doing a lot of interviews or actually practicing them. Okay, my name is David Coleman. I like to do this. I like to do that. I want to be so-and-so, so-and-so. You practice that stuff. Remember I told y'all, the more you can talk about yourself, the better jobs you will get. In other words, you're a sales. If you can't talk about yourself, who can? Your mama can't do it. Your relatives can't do it. You got to do it. Okay? Just letting y'all know. All right. Clayton, I see you over there. I know you're hiding. You awake? Pick Clayton. So I don't know why people always mess with me about me going to sleep.
Yeah, I don't need to be asleep.
Oh, man. But I am enjoying having them in the studio. It's fun. It kind of takes me back to my days back in the day when I was, working for the summer program and making good money. And, okay. It just boggled my mind. I'm sorry. I just saw a post on Facebook. It just kind of boggled my mind. But, back in the day, it was, we worked for OIC. And I was telling a friend this story the other day about we actually had to work outside. And we would clean up, shrubbery and stuff like that. But I was fortunate because I was the only one who knew how to drive a stick. By the way, do y'all have y'all driver's license? You do? You don't? What you waiting on? Huh? Can you drive? So if you and I are in the car and I have a heart attack, could you get me to the hospital? You could? Oh, okay. Whew. I was going to take y'all to lunch. I may not now. But anyway, so I was working for OIC. I think it was called, the initials were Opportunities Industrial Corporation. I believe that's what it was called. And every summer they would hire young people to do jobs throughout the city. And maybe it's called something else now, but it was pretty cool. And I also was working another job because I worked through high school as well. So I would, during the summer, this was before I left to go to college. And I had always worked with this program since I think like ninth grade. But anyway, this particular job, we had to load up this dump truck. And, you know, the cushy part about that particular job is who was going to drive the dump truck? Now, the key was, and the reason I asked you all that y'all have your driver's license, is that in order to drive a dump truck, you got to be able to drive a stick. Y'all know what a stick is, right?
Stick shift.
Yeah, stick shift. Y'all know what it is. Not one that has a stick and you just, you got to shift it every time, right? Okay. I'm just asking because you'd be surprised. A lot of you young people don't have any idea what a stick shift is. None whatsoever. Let alone drive one. Okay? Okay, all right. But anyway, so the key was they said, well, okay, we need a driver for the dump truck. And, of course, everybody, we were all seniors in high school, and all of us had cars at the time. So everybody ran to the dump truck. I'll be the driver, yeah. They opened the cab of the dump truck and look at the floor, and there it was. It was a 4-speed. It was a stick shift. And it was hilarious where all of those guys and a couple of women, young ladies, who wanted to be the driver all of a sudden, oh, I can't drive this. And I said, I can. So I ended up getting the job where I was the dump truck driver. So all I did was drive around all summer in the dump truck. That was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? So because I could drive a stick. One of the other things I always tell, particularly my daughter, and I'm going to tell you, Jemiah, you need to learn how to drive a stick shift. All right? And Clayton, you as well. You never know where you may be, where you might need to get away. You might need to run. And the only vehicle there is a stick shift. And you need to know how to drive one. I'm serious. That's part of the reason that I taught my daughter how to drive a stick. And all the women that I've ever dated, particularly the car that I have now, I have a Camry, is really the first car I've had that isn't a stick. In fact, I have a truck, and it's a stick. And everybody that I've ever dated, when I was married, I taught them how to drive a stick. To me, it's a safety issue. Okay? You get kidnapped, that guy driving the stick, you hit him in the head, knock him out, push him out of the car, you jump in there and drive the stick, I'm run. You know what I'm saying? I know that. You say, oh, that's just movie stuff. I'm serious. I'm serious. That's what I did. But yet I digress. Anyway, so, those are pretty cool summer jobs, and I appreciate having those guys in here with me. Sometimes, when I'm doing my show, a lot of times I'm like talking to the wall, because no one's in the studio with me. I produce my own show, all of that stuff. So every now and then I can kind of hold a conversation with them. Now, the other thing that I hadn't told you all, but in about 2 weeks, I'm going to get you involved into my show. So you got to be aware of what's going on. Okay? So I'll be asking you questions. So you all will be sitting over at those mics. And you all will be involved in the show. Clayton, what you think about this? I'll be saying, Jemiah, what do you think about this? All right? Can y'all handle it? All right, we'll see. Yes. Can you handle it, Clayton? Oh, Clayton, all right. Oh, do I need to turn the mic on already? Can you handle it, Clayton? All right. Clayton's ready. Because the one thing I want to make sure I do before I let you guys go is that I want to have a teenage show, a teen show, whereas I talk to you all about issues that are going on every day. And as I tell you what, why don't we start that start it Thursday. I won't be here. Okay? So one day next week we'll start that. The team talk, or whatever we want to call it. I don't care. And I'll let you all tell me what y'all want to talk about. Okay? Whether it's drugs, gangs, class, school, sex, violence, we'll talk about it. I want to hear what you all got to say. Because, see, what really irritates me a lot of times when I go to these meetings and seminars about teens, a lot of times there aren't any teens there. So how are they having a seminar about teams, yet there are no teams there? I went to one a couple of weeks ago where it was about a month ago where it was about black males, young black males. There were like 3 young black males in the audience. Really? So anyway, so we'll get that started next week as well. Because like I said, I'm getting you all totally involved in the show so that people can make fun of you. No, not actually. I think hopefully this experience has been good for you. Okay, so we're gonna do black facts here in just a moment. And what you all didn't realize that I was doing, and I'm talking to my interns as well, is that I was stalling. Okay? And the reason I was stalling is because I did not have my black facts up yet. But y'all didn't know I was stalling, did you? You figured. See, Clayton know everything over there. Get on the mic, Clayton. What'd you say?
I said I figured.
He figured I was stalling. Okay, all right. So you lucky that my PlayStation day is over with, because I'll be done challenge you, man. I'll be done put a whooping on you in 2K. Yeah, I
don't want to try me too.
not now, no, not now. But back in the day when I was balling, oh, dude, that's my son. You forget? Look, I got a 27-year-old son. That's what we used to do is Madden up and down, 2K, SOCOM. You don't even know nothing about SOCOM, do you? See, SOCOM was before Call of Duty. You see what I'm saying? So you don't know nothing about that.
These kids my age don't even want to challenge me. They dodge me.
Oh, so you the stuff. So do they have, like, you know, when it first hit, they used to have like Madden tournaments, and like a very good friend of mine, his name is Larry Ridley. He is the Madden tournament. I don't know what his title is, but he does sports for CBS Sports in New York. But he also travels around the country and puts on Madden tournaments. But do they do that with 2K tournaments? I don't think they do that with 2K tournaments, do
They
they?
got a whole 2K league sponsored by the NBA.
Okay, so the NFL sponsors the Madden, and so they do it. Okay, I was just wondering. Okay, all right. So that's Clayton. See, he got a little juice over there. We're gonna get Demaya on here one day this week as well. She thinks she got a little juice too, so we'll see what she's talking about as well. But in the meantime, let's do some black facts.
Dynamic black facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
All right, today, you know, keeping with my theme of reparations. No, I'm not letting it go. No. I wasn't trying to rap, but anyway. Here's another reason why reparations are needed, are demanded. Not asked for, because we're not asking for reparations. We are demanding reparations. The city of East St. Louis, Illinois, was the scene of one of the bloodiest race riots in the 20th century. Racial tensions began to increase in February 1917, when 470 African American workers were hired to replace white workers who had gone on strike against the aluminum ore company. The violence started on May 28, 1917, shortly after a city council meeting was called. Angry white workers lodged formal complaints against black migrations to the mayor of East St. Louis. After the meeting had ended, news of an attempted robbery of a white man by an armed black man began to circulate through the city. Here it goes again. Here's that common thread. A black man has beat up a white man, or a black man has raped a white woman, or whatever. A black man done something to the white man. So we got to riot and kill all the black folks. Let me just read that sentence again for you, because this is a common thread when you go back and you look at history and see how white people did what I call, and more importantly, what I called, they're not riots, they are mass murders. Okay? After the meeting had ended, news of an attempted robbery by a white man, by a armed black man began to circulate through the city. As a result of this news, white mobs formed and rampaged through downtown, beating all African Americans they found. The mobs also stopped trolley cars, pulling black passengers out and beating them on the streets and sidewalks. Illinois Governor Frank Loudon eventually called in the National Guard to quell the violence, and the mob slowly dispersed. On May 28th, disturbances were only a prelude to the violence that erupted on July 2nd, 1917. After the May 28th riots, little was done to prevent the further problems. No precautions were taken to ensure whites' job security or to grant union recognition. This further increased the already high level of hostilities toward African Americans. No reforms were made in police force, which did little to quell the violence in May. Governor Loudon ordered the National Guard out of the city on June 10th, leaving residents of East St. Louis in an uneasy state of high racial tension. On July 2nd, 1917, the violence resumed. Men, women, and children were beaten and shot to death. Around 6 o'clock that evening, white mobs began to set fire to the homes of black residences. Residents had to choose between burning alive in their homes or run from the burning homes, only to be met by gunfire. In other parts of the city, white mobs began to lynch African Americans against the backdrop of burning buildings. As darkness came and the National Guard returned, the violence began to wane, but did not come to a complete stop. In response to the rioting, the NAACP and sent W.E.B. Du Bois and Martha Grunick to investigate the incident. They compiled a report entitled Massacre of East St. Louis, which was published in the NAACP's magazine, The Crisis. The NAACP also staged a silent protest march in New York City in response to the violence. Thousands of well-dressed African Americans marched down Fifth Avenue, showing their concern about the events in East St. Louis. The Universal Negro Improvement Association also responded to the violence. On July 8, 1917, the UNIA's president, Marcus Garvey, said, "This is a crime against the laws of humanity. It is a crime against the laws of the nation. It is a crime against nature and a crime against the God of all mankind." He also believed that the entire riot was part of a larger conspiracy against African Americans who migrated north in search of a better life. The whole thing, my friends, is a bloody farce, and the police and soldiers did nothing to stem the murder. Thirst of the mob is a conspiracy on the part of the civil authorities to condone the acts of the white mob against Negroes. A year after the riot, a special committee formed by the United States House of Representatives launched an investigation into police actions during the East St. Louis riots. Investigators found that the National Guard and also the East St. Louis Police Force had not acted adequately during the riots, revealing that the police often fled from the scenes of the murders and arsons. Some even fled from station houses and refused to answer calls for help. The investigation resulted in the indictment of several members of the East St. Louis Police Force. And that's our Black Fact for today. Now, as I read that, I was thinking about what happened here in Little Rock with John Carter. It was about the same time. And when all of those white folks were running up and down Broadway and killing black folks, and they grabbed John Carter and they dragged him up and down Broadway behind a pickup truck, set his body on fire and hung him from a telephone pole, and then dismembered his body and used his arm to direct traffic. It sounds like some type of novel, but in fact, that happened right here. And a matter of fact, it may be 6 blocks from where I'm sitting right now. Okay? So I'm sitting on 15th. In fact, it is exactly 6 blocks. I'm sitting on 15th and Main, here in Little Rock, for those of my friends who are outside of this city. Those of you who are listening. I'm sitting at 15th and Main. John Carter was hung on 9th and Broadway. Okay? So the point I'm trying to make here is that the same things that were happening then with police, they happened all over this country. They were racially cleansing. They were trying to destroy black people's homes. That's why they set them afire. They didn't want them there, so they wanted to racially cleanse their city. You see this all over the country. You see this not just in the South. That was in St. Louis, Illinois. They call it East St. Louis. Okay? But I know some of y'all don't believe in reparations. Should these people get redress? Should these people have a right, whether they are dead now, their ancestors, should their ancestors, or their descendants, I should say, be able to get redress for the wrongs that were committed against their families? Because, see, here's what white people who are against reparations don't understand. All of these policies that you put forward during Jim Crow and the black codes, where you were racially cleansing, just think about it from this perspective. If you go back and look at history, the majority of these places that were raided, raped, and robbed and burned to the ground were thriving black communities. Now, part of the problem in the black community is poverty. Where did that poverty come from? Did white America, did America as a whole aid and abet black poverty? I would argue unequivocally yes. Because number one, when the Emancipation Proclamation was written and issued, you had an opportunity at that point to make it right. You set up a Freedmen's Bureau. And what did you do? You raided the Freedmen's Bureau. The money that was designed to go to blacks, it went to white slave owners. In fact, white slave owners got $300 per head. Let me say that again. White slave owners got $300 per head as it relates to a slave. By the way, Great Britain got quite a bit of money too for slaves that they lost. Think about that. So the Emancipation Proclamation, the Freedmen's Bureau, you ran interference with that. You plundered that money. Then throughout from the late 1800s through the 1900s up until the 1960s, you did everything you could to detract, to destroy black support, black survival, black economics. You did everything you could, man. And even today, you continue to do it, and you say black people don't deserve reparations? You know, it's funny because, the other day I talked about my white friend, Richard Cook. He made the argument the other day, and I tell you what, let me just go and read it for you. Because, as I said to you the other day, and as I say often, if your white friend doesn't understand the call for reparations, then he may not be your white friend. In fact, he may not be your friend at all. I hope I can find it real fast. So, they don't understand. And the only argument that they can run to is, here it is. How would it be paid? Okay, here's what he says. Wow. How would it be? How would it work? How much is owed? How much would be paid and by who to whom? Lastly, would paying the money bring together both sides for good? Now, Richard makes some very valid questions here. How would it work? You know, here's my argument, is that I don't believe in because it's complicated to do, then you do nothing. Okay? Think about it. Think about Harriet Tubman. Do you think it was complicated? Do y'all understand who Harriet Tubman really was? Do you know how bad of a black woman she was? That's why when I always list my heroes, you know who one of my heroes is? Harriet Tubman. She's always at the top of my list. And look, at 10 years old, I wrote a report about Harriet Tubman. Okay? That is a bad sister. You know, Harriet Tubman once said that, you know, they say she freed thousands of slaves. She said, I'd have freed 1,000 more had they known they were slaves. Do y'all know that Harriet Tubman was hit upside the head with a 2-pound fishing weight? Did you know that? Jemiah, did you know that? Harriet Tubman was in a feed store or whatever, some little store, and some white guy was having a conversation and felt like Harriet Tubman had smarted off with him. So he picked up a 2-pound fishing weight and hit her upside the head and knocked her out. She was unconscious for days. They thought she was gonna die. See, when you talk about Harriet Tubman, y'all don't know what this sister really was all about. So when she came to, and I think at that time, she was only about 11 or 12 years old when that happened. But from that point on, she always would have these blackouts. She was just black out. So quite often when she was rescuing slaves, freeing slaves on the trail, she would black out. Did you know this? This is how bad Harriet Tubman was. On the trail, Harriet would black out while she's rescuing slaves. That's how bad she was. So my point in bringing her up is that, see, what if Harriet Tubman would have said, how this gonna work, man? We cannot be precluded, or I should say, dissuaded from doing things that are uncomfortable, but we know are right. Harriet Tubman knew that slavery was wrong. Harriet Tubman knew that she had to free her people, and she was going to do everything she could possibly to free her people. So making the argument that, oh, well, it's too complicated, so you're not going to do anything, is not a valid argument. How much would be paid and by whom? Well, we know who by whom. The taxpayers. All of the money that this country has earned over the decades, over the centuries, on free black labor. I recently saw another report where it's $51 trillion that you owe us. And yeah, it probably would send the country into bankruptcy. I told y'all the other day how you can pay me. Give me a business loan. I need some money for my business. Then I could hire Clayton, and then I could hire Jemiah. If they may not want to work for me though, because I'm really a taskmaster. I'm tough on them in here. I have them standing at attention. Right now, both of them, I got them standing over in the corner at attention. I ain't playing up in here. I ain't playing. One of y'all out there gonna believe that and say, man, somebody called the police on Dave. He treating them young folks so bad. He says, lastly, would paying the money bring together both sides? Unfortunately, no. Because the reason that we haven't come together as black and white is because white people don't want to come together. Hello? You know, since the 60s, at least, black people have been trying to be equal to white folks. Black people have been wanting to come together with white folks, at least since the 60s. Okay? Let me read that question again. Lastly, would paying money bring together both sides? You mean paying reparation? Would that finally get rid of the race problem? No. Because see, white people, you all created the race problem. Remember, I've said this. You can't expect black people to get rid of the race problem. I told y'all about the tree thing yesterday. Your tree in your yard, I can't go and cut down your tree. You got to cut down your own tree. Stop expecting black folks to get rid of racism. White folks have to get rid of racism. Y'all created it. I didn't create this monster. Hell, I'm just now beginning to understand what racism has really done, and I'm 58 years old. And every day that I live and every day that I work, that I research, I realize just how bad racism really was and really is, and just how bad white supremacy really is. So no, just because you pay me reparations, what you owe me, it's kind of like you behind on your rent. You pay up your rent, and you say, well, you know, now that I'm paid up on my rent, I ain't got to pay rent for the next 6 months. Are you crazy? Come on now. Reparations are in order. And as I say often and every day that I demand them. Don't care if you get mad. That's a you thing. We're going to go out and take a quick break. When we return, and that is not mine. Let's play this one. All right, that sounds much better. That was actually my sports show bumper. When we come back, there are a couple of things, and I didn't read the tease, so let me go ahead and read the tease for today. All of that was about the black fact. You know, sometimes, you know, I love talking about black folks so much. You know, the black fact is only supposed to be like 10 minutes. Sometimes I'll be talking like 20 minutes on the black fact. I love talking about us. Come on. I'm going to tell you something. Let me just tell y'all a secret. If you don't like talking about your history and your culture, and you're not proud of your history and your culture, then you really have a problem. You really do. Now, the tease for today. We asked the question, are you holding your lawmakers accountable? Is Kamala Harris black enough? The LRPD wants your email address. No, thank you. And get ready for a big parade, big whoop. All of that and more. It's called Black Focus Radio. I'm Dynamic Dave on JoyNetRadio.com.
How many people have come up to you and said, hey, I didn't know you had a business?
Listen to this
That
spot.
can happen when you don't advertise. I have a solution for you. Advertise on Joynet Radio.
See how smooth it
And
is.
let the world know that you're in business. I know what you're thinking.
Now, I did this spot in one take.
expensive. I've got a great package for you.
All I did was go in and edit the breasts out.
It's only $125 for startup and new businesses. Call me, David W. Coleman, at 615-554-0568, and I'll put together a package specifically for your business. Now is the time to tell the world, hey, I'm in business. Come spend your money on quality goods in my store. Let us help you at joynetradio.com. Here's the number. Call me, 615-554-0568. We are here to assist you in building your brand.
Hi, I'm attorney Theodore Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matter. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 North McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theodore Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
I'm so glad I found the Kick Above. It's like my very own personal training studio. A Kick Above removed the guesswork and intimidation and offered me a very supportive and structured environment specific to my personal goals. Kim Leverett and her certified personal trainers even offered nutritional guidelines for my personal workout. It's about me at A Kick Above. Call 501-868-8850 or go to akickabove.com. Now, what am I wearing tonight? Thanks to A Kick Above, I look marvelous.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
All right, welcome back to the show. I have posted the YouTube feed on, so you can go out and check that out. I need you all to go out and like that feed, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you don't mind. Hey, Jackie. And look, go out and look at the YouTube, because look, we're going to start adding some advertising to the YouTube feed, okay? So just letting you all know that. All right. 855-525-5683 is the number. One other quick thing that I find. You know, I told you all a lot that white people are upset when they first went to Africa. And they, you know, you can imagine them trudging through the thick brush and with the machetes, and then they come to this clearing and they look up and they see the Sphinx. And they're like, whoa, dog, wait a minute. I thought y'all said nobody was supposed to be here. Who the hell built the Sphinx? And then they travel a little bit further and then they see them the pyramids of Giza. Whoa, wait a minute. Oh, man, come on, man. And then here's what they said. You know what? The black folks couldn't have built those. So it had to be aliens. Yeah. In fact, they got a TV show on right now called Aliens. What is it called? History of Aliens. That's on the History Channel. And coming up with all these, and they got all these top flight scientists and astrophysicists talking about how the aliens could have possibly built, because the people couldn't have built those pyramids. They couldn't have carved that stone to master precision. They couldn't have lifted those heavy stones higher than the highest building. No, those black folks, no. And then they go inside those pyramids. Then they see the pictures of those black folks. Well, wait a minute. See, they couldn't have been black. Because see what happened was when you know, the air and the oxygen from the outside start coming into the pyramids, it changed the paint black. And that's why they all look black. And then they found the mummies. And then, you know, the mummies had hair like lamb's wool. In other words, the mummies had black hair. No, see, it couldn't have been that they black. Because, see, what happened was when, you know, when the people died, you know, yeah, they died, and they took all the fluids out the body, it kind of made their hair draw up and dry out, and that's why they got black hair. Yeah. Yo, dog, you believe that? Well, let me tell you something. I got a bridge around the corner that I want to sell to you for about $50. All I need is $50. It's your bridge, and you can charge people every time they go across it. You believe that? Now, what's my point? So, I'm laughing at the Swedes. See, this is why I love history, okay? I just want to read just a little bit of this article. I posted this article this morning. I didn't plan to really get into it, but I just thought it was pretty funny when I saw it. It says, documentary about dark-skinned first Swedes spark horror on Twitter. Now, wait a minute. See, we typically think about Sweden, and we think about the women, the pretty little blonde hair, white women with the blue eyes, the men, handsome Swedes, big, stocky with blonde hair and blue eyes. That's typically what we typically think about Swedes. But what did I say the other day about don't ever say black folks don't? And don't ever say, look, when you are the progenitors of mankind, you are everywhere. I've posted often the black Chinese. Okay? In fact, there is a story that's about to come out about the black ninja warrior. Okay? Ought to be pretty interesting. Now, back to the Swedes. An ad for an upcoming documentary about the first Swedes who were dark-skinned and blue-eyed has prompted fear and denial on Twitter. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that I evolved from a black man with blue eyes? Oh no, says the Swedes. It can't be. It can't be. I'm loving this. The series will start to air on Swedish television this Wednesday. And when channel SVT began promoting it last week, some people reacted on social media with disbelief and anger. The documentary will look at DNA technology. The DNA don't lie, baby. Which has revealed more about how Sweden was populated after the Ice Age and detailing how the first pioneers in the country were dark-skinned and blue eyes and came from the South. Well, ain't that something? Are you saying that the Swedes evolved? See, now we know why them women so fine. They got black DNA, baby. What's up with that? Yeah, I'm rubbing it in your face. It's the blackness. You know what I'm saying? It's the melanin. It's that black man and black woman magic. Oh, can you feel it? Just absorb it. Oh, it's just so wonderful. No wonder you hate us. Don't be laughing, Jemiah. She said, that guy's really nuts. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that little tidbit out there. Okay? I mean, look, I just learned that. See, remember what I tell y'all? I said I love history because you always learn something. And the day that I stop learning is the day that I might as well be dead. That's why I tell people, look, if I get dementia and I don't know who the hell I am, and all them other, where I lose my mind, just let me walk off a cliff somewhere. Put me out my misery. I need to know who I am because I need to be able to learn. I grow with learning. And I did not know that the first Swedes were dark-skinned people with blue eyes. Now, wait a minute, you want me to boggle your mind? Have you all seen those pictures of those black kids on that island? Hey, Glenda Lawrence, how you doing? That have blonde hair and blue eyes. Have you seen those? Let me ask both of y'all. Jemiah, come over on that mic real fast. I'm going to ask my interns. This is an informal survey. Do you all think that black people can be born with blonde hair and blue eyes? Be honest. You don't think so? You think it's impossible?
I mean, I never seen it before, so.
What do you think, Clayton? Well, did you all know that there is an island full of black people with blonde hair and blue eyes. And let me just find the island. Now, it does occur in America as well, by the way. Now my computer won't. See, this is a conspiracy. And it won't. Okay. Let's see. Let me type this in. Let me just. It is genetics. But y'all come over here and look at this picture. There's a place called the Solomon Islands. Now that's down near the equator. Look at that kid. There's usually some others too. So let's see. All blonde, blue, okay. Natural blonde hair. Melanesians. What I'm doing, folks, I'm showing my interns. Those are black people. They live on the Solomon Islands. Many of them have blue eyes. As you can see, that's natural. They don't have weave and stuff like that over there. Okay? So it's fairly likely in the conversation that I'm having right now is, yeah, the Swedish did evolve from black people. And then, of course, the DNA doesn't lie either. So, anyway, okay, that's cool. All right. It can happen, says Jackie. Yeah, it does. It happens more than you know. It happens more than you know. But I just thought that was kind of funny. That the Swedish, let me just read a couple of comments. Next hour, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on here in Little Rock as it relates to a stupid bill that was passed. And I'm going to tie that into what your representatives are saying. Okay? Another population of people who had paler skin and a variety of eye and hair colors arrived about the same time from the east. The two people were thought to have mixed fairly quickly, and Nordic people eventually became lighter skinned, allowing them to increase their vitamin DNA production to survive the harsh, dark winters. Some Twitter users took the information advertised in the documentary and some sort of conspiracy aimed at making people more open to migration. Okay? So our taxpayer-funded Swedish state-on TV has procured a new special history lesson for us. Meet the first Swedes. They say that according to DNA tests, the first Swedes had black skin and blue eyes. So the Vikings were African now? You're supposed to be Swedish and a journalist. You've got to be kidding. You think the first Swedes were Vikings? Really? Because the first Swedes were not Vikings, you idiot. But this is my point. You just go and read some of these. White people are in the... No, we couldn't come from the black man. No. Yeah, you did. That's why y'all hate us. You know, y'all are the prodigal children. You know what I'm saying? You've went away. You've turned your back on your ancestors, your blood, your roots. And you've turned your back so badly on your blood, your ancestors, and your roots that you're willing to kill them. Hello? I'm sorry. You know, you have to be careful with history because history will make a fool out of you. Okay? It's kind of like that white supremacist, I believe he was in Texas, who found out, he did a DNA test and found out that he had some black blood. How you hate yourself, man? Y'all heard about that, right? White supremacists hated black folks, did a DNA test, and found out he had black ancestors. Man, that's got to be a foot in the butt. All right, we're going to go ahead and take the top of the hour break. We'll be back in just a moment. It's called Black Focus Radio. Man, I'm telling you. I don't care what you say. I don't care what Trump says and his gnarly band of followers. But facts will always win. Let me say that again. Facts will always win. Back in a moment.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of a life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional.
Someone said, shout out to Miss Ivy and Mr. Williams. Keep up the good work doing your mentorship. Wait a minute, y'all ain't supposed to be shouting out to them bums. This is my show. Wait a minute. You send another shout out to them and I'm gonna cut you off.
Call now.
He's shouting out to no interns on my show. What's wrong with y'all?
That's 870
Man!
2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through.
Oh, well, then she says, you all keep up the good work. You have an awesome mentor. Well, of course. Yes, you do. You do.
Hi, I'm attorney Theodore Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm.
That's right. You better clean it up, Miss Jackie.
Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503.
So basically what I do, I run my whole show just through the quick sets.
You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal record.
Right. I basically, except when I start, I run the entire show through quick sets. Because I've got my spots here. I've got my top drops here.
I'm so glad I found the kick above.
So the key in doing this is just, you have to stay ahead. You got to know what's coming up. So I know what's coming up right now is the end of this spot. I got 1 minute and 17 seconds. So what am I going to do after that spot? Well, I'm at the top of the hour. So I know I got to do a top drop. I got to do a disclaimer and an open. Okay? So because I'm doing it through the quick keys, I'm just going to set it at the top drop. Now, it gives me 9 seconds to click back to my file, to my quick keys. Okay?
501-663-1553 or 664-2992 or call our toll-free number 1-877-BB1. Diapers, pull-ups, hospital beds, wheelchairs, Simply Fit, diabetic supplies, underpacks, and more. Your durable medical supply center.
Guess who's on JoyNet Radio? It's your girl Ella J with Coffee Conversations with Lakeisha. Coffee Conversations with Lakeisha is an interactive online daily devotional that rightly divides the Word of God. It's Kingdom, baby. Join us Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's weekday mornings, 5 a.m. at joynetradio.com.
Remember, you want to keep the board tight. I can do one of these drops that I want.
You got it. Amen.
Okay, I got to go back to mine. Disclaimer.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Boom. See how tight it is after each spot? That's important.
With our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open. at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Hey y'all, what's happening? Dave Coleman in the house with my interns. I'm thinking about sending them to get me some lunch or something. You know, that's what they used to do to us. Man, can you give me a cup of coffee? I need 3 creams. Hey, I make free money to go get somebody some coffee. And then quite often they go, hey man, can you go get me some lunch? Buy yourself some lunch too. I ain't gonna do that to y'all. I wouldn't make y'all go get me some lunch and buy yourself some lunch. 855-525-5683 is the number. So we want to talk about something this hour. And it has a lot to do with leadership. So the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of pounding on black ministers. I know, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. You know, I'm tough on y'all because, you know, I grew up respecting black ministers. I want to get back to that point. Look, I'm just being honest. I'm tough on y'all, okay? Because I expect a black minister to have certain standards. That's just me. Maybe you don't think you should have certain standards as a black minister. I do. You know, if you claim you are a man of God, then you should act as such every day, not some days. If you claim that you are for justice, then you should make sure that you are standing for justice every day. Okay? Okay, 1630. That's what I needed to know. All right, so today I want to talk a little bit about black politicians. Have they gotten conveniently comfortable? Should a black politician work for his or her job every election cycle? You know, years ago, I didn't think so. I thought, you know, Sister Mary's in there. She's been in there for a long time. She know what she's doing. Let her stay in there. But what we're beginning to find out is that our black politicians, in some cases, are no better than the white ones. And they are not really fighting against or for black people. You know, I often say, and it makes people mad when I say, hey, look, I know y'all love y'all some President Obama. I know he made y'all feel good deep down in your gut. But President Obama didn't do a damn thing for black people except make you feel good deep down in your gut. I could go eat an ice cream cone and feel good deep down in my gut. Or better still, I could go make me some shrimp etouffee. Oh. Chicken cordon bleu. Oh. There are a lot of things that I can go and make and duplicate. I can go buy me some new clothes or a new pair of shoes that I've always wanted. Make me feel good deep down in my gut. But whatever I purchase really don't do anything for me. You all get that, right? So there's a House bill that's being pushed. And I'll be honest, Roderick Talley made me aware of this. There is a House bill that's being pushed that basically is supporting or being able to allow police to hide their nefarious dealings when it comes to the public. Now, Roderick Talley, we've talked about his story a lot on this show. This young man was his door was illegally blown off the hinges while he was asleep there. Fortunately enough for him, he had video cameras installed in his home as security devices. Police claim that they blew the doors off of his apartment because an informant had bought illegal drugs from him. which was a lie. We know that to be the facts now. Roderick Talley decided to fight the police. And you know, and I guess, let me pause for a minute. I guess the reason I admire this young man, because let me see, 19 years ago, 20 years ago, I was about 38 years old, 37. It was 1997, 98. Actually, it was 95. I was going through a terrible divorce. They took my son from me for no other reason than the fact that I was a man. I was a great father. I nurtured him. I cared for him. I did all the things that any father should do and would do. And because I was going through a divorce, the courts took my son. I was devastated. So to make a long story short, instead of crying in my milk, I decided to do something about it, and I fought the state of Tennessee. That's where I launched the organization I Love My Children Too, became president of the Children's Rights Council. The Children's Rights Council, I Love My Children Too, and Dads Against Discrimination went to court, went to the state legislature, and got laws passed that were favorable for fathers, that made it equal for fathers to be a part of their children's lives. You know, people told me then, and I got to thinking about this, and Roderick, as I drove in this morning, and I'll be honest, full disclosure, Roderick is listening right now, but I got to thinking about this as I drove in this morning. Why do I admire this young man so much? And it is because I see a lot in him that was me. Because you know what they told me when I went to court? They told me you will never beat the system. They said it is baked in. You are a man. You will not get custody of your child. You can go and fight and fuss all you want. No one will support you. I remember when we first started going down to the Tennessee State Legislature. And I remember when people wouldn't even see us. In fact, legislators would close their doors. Some of them would just refer to us as those angry dads who don't want to pay child support. After about 2 years, when we would walk into this Tennessee State House, it was, "Good afternoon, Mr. Coleman," or Mr. Corson, or Mr. whomever was with us, because they knew we meant business. They knew that we were fathers who cared about our children. I testified before subcommittee after subcommittee, talking about the virtues and the importance of fathers and the relationship with their children. We ultimately got multiple things passed, not necessarily what we wanted, but we ultimately got a lot of things passed, and then I suffered a mental illness where I almost committed suicide. It had driven me almost crazy. So as I think about Roderick Talley, and I think about what this young man has done, not only I like Roderick, I could have, when men would call me and say, "Hey man, here's what the judge did to me," or "Here's what her lawyer did to me," and I would stay on the phone for hours. And I know Roderick Talley has probably done the same thing, talking to people, listening to people. I know he's probably done that. I don't know that to be true, but I got a feeling he has. And when Roderick decided that, hey, look, what happened to me, it has happened to some other people, Roderick could have taken his ball and went home. Roderick could have fought his case. He would have won his case. Boom. But what did Roderick do? Roderick said, hey, I think there are other people who have suffered this injustice, and I want to help them. Just last week, Roderick Talley was able to help a young lady get her case dismissed, who was also a victim of illegal search and seizure warrants by the Little Rock Police Department. I say illegal. Okay? So now, apparently, HB 1630 in the Arkansas House of Representatives is being passed, or at least being looked at, to give police basically carte blanche to violate your constitutional rights. In other words, what happened to Roderick Talley? Now your state legislators are saying, hey, okay, let's make it legal. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not surprised what white folks do in the legislature. I'm pretty clear now, especially Republicans. I'm pretty clear on the fact that white Republicans don't like black people. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm just going by what I see and what I feel from white Republicans. Okay? But here's the problem that I have. That when you're black Republicans or your black legislators support bills like this, we should have problems. Now, I'm hoping, okay? I'm hoping that Nicole Clowney, Frederick Love, Monty Hodges, Fred Allen, Charles Blake, Vivian Flowers, Jay Richardson, Reginald Murdoch, Milton Nix, Don Glover, Ken Ferguson, Jamie Scott, John Walker. I'm hoping that you all are not signing off on this legislation. Because any carte blanche that you give to police is going to adversely affect the black community. We're already seeing this. We are allowing police to kill black people. And nobody serves 1 minute in jail. In fact, they're being lauded as heroes. Y'all remember the cop in Florida who got Policeman of the Year for being a racist? Now, that's not why he got Policeman of the Year. He had been accused of multiple racist incidents, yet he was voted Policeman of the Year. Now, I've told you all over and over again that a Democrat and a Republican are part of the same bird. A left wing and a right wing is part of the same bird. I've told you all over and over again that if you are running for office, if you are a voter, your best option should be an independent. Make them work for your vote. And that includes our black politicians. They should not have carte blanche just because they're black to be able to do anything and say anything and not be called to the table on it. I'm sorry, that doesn't work. That's not going to work on this show. Now, any of them are more than welcome. Many of them are my friends. Many of them have been on this show before. But I hope the hell you're not going to support a piece of legislation that's going to do more harm to the black community than anything else. I remember, I'm trying to remember, what was the state legislator's name who had the passionate speech from Pine Bluff about gun violence, about passing that recent gun law? Where's that passion for this bill? Where is it? And my point in bringing all of this up is that it is far from time for us to begin to demand results from people we put in office. I hear a lot of people saying, well, you know, the reason we keep people in office because we need people in office that know what they're doing. You know, I understand that argument, and that's a valid argument. But when people have been in office so long and nothing is getting done, sometimes it's a change of pace that's needed. And I'm not just talking about black politicians. I'm talking about all politicians. Part of the reason that the United States is in the mess that it's in, because we've had the same politicians over and 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 over again. We need new voices. We need new thoughts. We need new ideas. Right here in Little Rock alone, the city board, the average age is 68.5. Look, I think I'm an old coot. Now, some people will be nice to me and say, oh, man, you're 58. You're not that old. Well, I'm an old coot. I just happen to be hip. You think I'm hip, Clayton?
Yeah, you know a lot of stuff.
Oh, gee, thanks, Clayton. Thanks. But some of these old coots don't know their butts from a hole in the ground. As a matter of fact, one of the city board members I saw on a piece where she was actually supporting a charter school that was failing. And where it is that the person who runs a charter school is our friend. 68.5 years old. We need young blood. We need young people. We need young ideas. We no longer need these people who have been in office so long that they've forgotten. We need to refresh the tree with patriots, with black patriots. We have to do this, folks. And it needs to be done now. It doesn't, look, if someone new in your community is running, you ought to vote for him. Oh, he new? I'm going to vote for him. You know why you ought to vote for him? And I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't even matter unless their platform is just utterly ridiculous. Like they're a white supremacist or something. You ought to vote for them if they're new. You know why? Because if you use the argument, he can't do any worse than the ones that are already in there, that's the argument that you ought to use. You're exactly right. Because some of the ones that are already in there, they're not doing anything but they're drawing a check. Traveling on the taxpayer's dollar. But when you look at the black communities across this country, what exactly are they doing? And look, I'm not trying to make any enemies here, but at some point we got to understand here that what the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We have been doing the same thing over and over again in the black community since 1965, since the Civil Rights and the Voting Rights Act. We have been doing the same damn thing over and over and over and over and over again. And what do we have? Now, I know what some of y'all are going to say, oh, well, you know what? We can go eat at there. It wasn't like it is in the 1960s. We can go eat at their restaurants. Really? Is that the biggest gain you got? Well, let me tell you why it's still the same. You know what? In the 1960s, redlining was happening. You know what redlining is? That they were designating certain areas in the communities where black people could live. Okay? And not only were they doing that, they were also charging you more for your home. So you were having to pay more money for your loan than the average white guy. That was happening in the 60s. It's happening today. Voter suppression. Guess what? That was happening in the 60s. It's happening today. As a matter of fact, gerrymandering was happening in the 60s. It's happening today. The Supreme Court just ruled 2 days ago that they will not weigh in on the gerrymandering of political districts. It was happening in the 60s. It's happening today. Black men were being hung in the 60s. On the street corners, they're being murdered by white police officers today. Tell me what's changed. I just need to know. Oh, because you can drive that pretty car? Because you can move into a white person's neighborhood? You know they don't want you there, right? But see, here's what they want you to do. They want you to abandon your neighborhoods as many of us have done. They want you to leave your neighborhoods, so then they come back behind you and they buy that property for pennies on the dollar, and then they refresh it and charge you rent that you can't even afford to move back into the neighborhood you grew up in. That's what they do to you. Hello? And you all let them. And we don't have a black preacher in this city. We don't have a black politician in this city. We don't have a black leader, period, in this city who's willing to stand up and protest those very things. Where is the leadership in Little Rock? So what I'm saying to you is that maybe we do need someone like a Roderick Talley. This is not an endorsement for him. I'm just simply saying I'm tired of putting the same people back in office, whether they be black or white, and we still get rotten eggs. Look, the war on crime has been going on for 40 years. Our black men are still being murdered in the streets. The fight against police brutality has been going on for damn near a century, and police are still being allowed to murder, hang them from a pole in our streets. So you all tell me what has changed. See, my argument is this, and I understand, clearly, I understand politics, and I know how laws are made, how bills are passed to become law. I grew up with Scholastic Rock, baby. Y'all know what Scholastic Rock was, right? Oh, I'm just a bill. I'm just a bill, and I'm sitting on Capitol Hill. It taught you, basically, if you didn't know, how bills were passed every Saturday morning while you watch Saturday morning cartoons. Many people believe they don't do those things anymore because they don't want the American public to understand government. They want you to be stupid, a la Donald Trump followers. Because I can't believe that people are that stupid. I can't believe people are that stupid, but every day I look at Americans and I see that 33% of people following Donald Trump, and I'm saying, yeah, they're that stupid. See, what you ought to understand is, I understand why millionaires and billionaires support Donald Trump. He just gave them a 1.7 trillion tax cut. I'd be voting for Donald Trump too. If I go out and win the lottery tomorrow, I think the lottery is $170 million. If I win the lottery tomorrow, I might pretty well become a Republican. Because you know what? They're going to give me tax cuts. So I understand why rich people vote for him. What I don't understand is how poor white people vote for Donald Trump. I understand that. I got fears. Well, what's going on here? He's stealing from you. He's stealing from your future. He's stealing from everything. But you see, if you don't demand that they say something, if you don't demand that they do something, then you will be stuck with politicians and preachers who do nothing but draw checks and come and say stuff to you to make you feel good, but they can't show you one law that specifically will help the overall masses of black people. That's what I said about President Obama. There is not one piece of legislation that was passed under President Obama that benefited specifically black people for whatever reasons. Now, I like me some Obama. I love me some Michelle, two beautiful daughters who've grown up to be gorgeous women. I think that you're going to hear from them in the future. No doubt about that. But politically speaking, I can't say that President Obama was my president. Usually when you say someone is your president, that means he does something for you other than make you feel good. Now, back in the day when I was dating, I used to make a lot of women feel good. I didn't do anything for them. I'm just being real with you. Is that what you want? Is that what you want in your politicians? To show up and make you feel good? To show up in your church or your meeting and say something that gets you clapping and yeah. But ultimately you never get anything done. Your communities are still bombed out, Lebanon shelters. Your children are being shot down on the streets. Drugs are running rampant in your community. I've even heard some black politicians use the phrase black on black crime to try to chastise the black community. Yet they never use the phrase white on white crime. Bill HB 1630. Keep your eye on it. Find out whether or not your black legislator voted for this piece of legislation. HB 1630. Clearly, I will be surprised that when it comes to the vote, that these black folks are going to hold fast. Because if they do, that's campaign fodder. This is from Ladybug LeRae. Love the brother. He's referring to Barack Obama and the First Lady and the First Family. Glad you said it. We only felt. We are crumbling and falling apart. Something has to be done. We only felt good, is what she was saying. We have to do a critical evaluation of where we were, where we are, and where we are going. And no one in black leadership has dared to do that. Not just locally, but nationally. We just had, we're right now this week they're having the Rainbow Coalition Conference. They just had the Reverend Sharpton's conference last week. We're having all these black conferences. And as I read synopses of these conferences, what I see is that no one is evaluating where we were, where we are, and where we're going as a black community. And until we do that, because see, when you start making those evaluations, you make some critical conversation about where you were, where you are, and where you're going. And when you make those critical evaluations and have those critical conversations, you begin to put in place where we are, but where we're going and how we're going to get there. How are we going to build those roads and bridges to get where we need to as a black community? Not as a multicultural community. Because what has happened over the years is black people have been invaded by other isms. And what that has done is diluted us in thinking that we are doing one thing and we're actually fighting for other causes. And ultimately, nothing is done for black people. I'm just saying. It's time for us to evaluate where we were. Because see, if you look back and see where we were, and then you say where we are, you'll begin to realize that you're not that far away from where you were. Yeah, I know some of y'all got government jobs. Government. I know some of y'all got y'all some nice houses now. But if you really examine your life and the life, don't look at yourself as an individual. Because see, I don't judge my success. Now certainly, I've had some pretty good success in my life. Thank the Creator. But you know, if my brother down the corner is struggling, not because he made bad choices, but because society has decided that because he's black, He doesn't deserve the same opportunities that other blacks. I was a chosen black. And if you were successful in this country, believe it or not, you were a chosen black. Yeah, there are quite a few of you out there. I know what you're saying. No, man, I wasn't chosen. I work hard. I work hard for my job. I went to school, got my master's degree. Man, I work. No, you were chosen, dude. Let me ask you something. When you went and applied for the job that you have, unless you work for yourself, you went to a white man to ask for a job. Right? Whoa, that just slapped you, didn't it? So if you did that, you were chosen. Not many of you work for black companies, I know that. So you were one of the chosen Negroes. the same credentials that you have as a black person, that white guy working beside you, he doesn't have those credentials. He don't need them. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. You were one of the chosen Negroes. Hello. So I went on this long diatribe because I've talked a lot about Roderick Talley. Because, like I said, I see a lot in him that was me 20 years ago when I was fighting the state of Tennessee. Yeah, I took on a whole state. I told you I was crazy. And I think we need more Roderick Talleys. Whether he wins or loses, we need that spirit. We need people who are willing to look at the system and say, hey, that's wrong. Here's what the law says. And even though it might be the law, that's wrong. And I'm willing to stand up against the law. 855-525-5683 is the number. You're more than welcome to call me if you decide one way or the other. That's fine. But I know we need more voices. We need young people. This is why I so much love working with young people. This is why every chance that I get, I try to inspire them. And I'm hoping that's something that they're hearing in these 6 weeks that they're in this studio that's going to inspire them and say, hey, Mr. David, Mr. Coleman, he said this. I'm going to do this. Every one of you all out there ought to be doing the same. Because right now, we need young people. We need their voices. Do you all not see? This is why they don't teach you history. This is why they don't want you to go back and look at those films from the film clips from the 60s. They don't want our young people today to know that those were young people ages 14, 15, 16, 17 years old that were fighting those water cannons, that were having those dogs sicked on them, that were sitting at those lunch counters. They want our young people to believe that they are not empowered. They don't want our young people to believe that they are the power, because the reason they are the power is because they are the future. You see, that's why I'm such a bad brother. Because, see, when I was a young person, my black ministers and my black politicians told me that I was the power. Because I was the future. So they don't want our young people to know that. They know the power of black people. They know the power of blackness. They know the strength of melanin. So they do everything they can to divide us. They do everything they can to keep us from coming together as black people, as black men, as black women. They applaud the fact that when a black man, a young black brother, kills another young black brother, they say, help. Right on. That's one less that we have to deal with. So we need our young people. We need to uplift them at every chance. You know, I used to get so mad at my folks at my church when they'd say, David will do it. I'm like, come on, really? But you know what? I think back, the reason that I'm in radio today is because of a lady by the name of Miss Odessa Talley. And one Sunday at Bullock Temple CME Church, the person that normally does the announcements had gotten ill. And because I read well, because remember I told you that I grew up reading a lot, Miss Odessa Talley and Mrs. Othello Faison decided that David could do the announcements. So I started doing the church announcements on the fourth Sundays, which was Youth Sunday. But eventually they just decided that I would do them every Sunday. And you know, when I started thinking about my radio career, because I've been in this business for 35 years, I kept going back and wondering what really got me started in radio. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was those church announcements every Sunday at Bullock Temple CME Church. That little church that sits right across the street from Central High School. See, those old people in that church gave me the power and allowed me to use it. And here I am, didn't go to college for communications, didn't go to college for radio. I went to college for business administration. But here I am 35 years later, have raised 2 children on the radio business. So no, they don't want your children. They don't want young people involved. They don't want Roderick Talley involved. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, I appreciate what the brother's doing. I really do. And as I told a friend the other day, I've been back to Little Rock 4 years. And I could not tell you the other people that are running for Ward 36. Not that I don't know. I could look it up. But what I mean is, I don't know what they've done in the community. They might be good people. In fact, I'm sure they are. And eventually, I'm hoping that we're going to have a debate. But my question is this. What have they done for you? What have they done for the community? I know what Roderick Talley has done. I'm not endorsing him. I'm simply saying, here's a brother that got dogged out by the Little Rock Police Department. He could have took his ball and went home. In fact, at one point, Roderick Talley had moved out the city. He was so afraid. But he decided that, hey, no, that's not going to work. I got to come back and fight this, and then I'm going to help everybody else to fight their situations. That's what you need as a politician, bro. That's who you need. You need someone who's willing to fight for other people. And based on what Mr. Talley has done, y'all better pay attention. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. I just needed to talk about that for a moment. We're going to get Roderick back on the show. Roderick is a friend of mine. I admire the young brother. Win, lose, or draw, Roderick Talley is a friend of mine. And I'm proud to say that. Okay? Win, lose, or draw, Roderick Talley is a friend of mine. Now, he may not think he's a friend of mine, but he is. Okay? By the way, I ask you all if anyone out there has a sewing machine. I have an intern in there who likes to sew. She needs some help. She needs a sewing machine. Or if you have an internship for her, an apprenticeship, I should say, call me up. By the way, the people that we responded to earlier said they will check with the management team and let you know. Okay? We ain't playing in here. We have to empower our young people. If a young person said, hey, we ought to be willing to come together and put our heads together and figure out how we can help them. Don't have to be yours. That's what somebody did to me. Don't have to be yours. (855) 525-5683 is the number. I got some of y'all fired up on Facebook. Good. Get mad. I want everybody to get mad and do something. And I tell you what, not just get mad and do something. Get mad and go vote. Go vote. Okay? Get upset and go vote. That's the only way we're going to solve this problem, is you take your butts to the poll. It's not the be-all to be an all. It's not going to solve things overnight, but it'll send a message that we, as the people of America, are tired of you blowing smoke up our butts and telling us it's a campfire. And you show up with hot dogs and marshmallows. We're tired. And if you're one of those that are still in office, if you're one of those who continually be in office, then maybe it's time for you to go. My argument is, if you've been in office for more than 2 terms, you need to go anyway. That's part of the problem with America, is that we've got people serving in office for 10, 15, 20 years. That should not be happening. It should not be happening. These same people that vote themselves raises don't want you to get a raise. Those same people at the Arkansas State Legislature who sought to undermine the people of Arkansas when they voted themselves a raise, they're just disgusting. A couple other quick things. I want to talk quickly about Kamala Harris, but before I do that, I want to talk about the LRPD wants your email address. Now, let me tell you this right off the bat. Now, you know, people are going to be popping fireworks in a couple of days. Let me just be honest with you. If there's a little kid out on the corner popping fireworks in my neighborhood, do you think I'm going to call the police on that kid? Hell no. Give me a break. And if you're calling the police on black kids, you're asking for a black kid to be killed for popping fireworks. I remember when I came to Little Rock a few years ago, and I was staying at a friend's house in North Little Rock. And I want to say the school that backed up this friend's property was Meadowbrook. It was over in North Little Rock. And the kids would go on this school campus and pop fireworks. And literally the North Little Rock Police Department was chasing them for popping fireworks. Man, give me a break. So here's the deal. The Little Rock Police Department, they don't want you to call. They want you to send your email. So if little Johnny, a little Six, a little X, a little Pookie, a little Ray Ray, a little Maya is outside popping fireworks, they want you to send them an email. Let me tell you why you don't need to do that. Number one is because once you send them that email, your email is now in their database. Do I need to say anything else about that? If it bothers you enough, I'll tell you what, if it bothers you enough to call the police on kids for popping fireworks, then go ahead and send them your damn email. Okay? Go ahead and do that. Also, PLOTUS is planning a big parade for the 4th of July. He already owes the city of Washington $12 million. So now he's going to put tanks and heavy artillery vehicles on their streets and destroy them even more. It's going to cost millions of dollars, but he doesn't care because he's PLOTUS. He's the pathological liar of the United States. It is a setup, Ladybug. Ain't no way I'm sending them my email. You can forget about that. I'm not snitching on no little 8, 9, 10-year-old kids for popping fireworks. Come on, man. I'm just not going to do it. If you don't want them to pop fireworks, then let me ask you something. Why the hell can I go right over there on 145th Street, or I can go right over there at Prothero Junction, I can go anywhere within a 10-minute radius and buy fireworks? If you don't want me popping fireworks, then stop the people from selling it. It's kind of like they did when they wanted to keep people from smoking pot, Instead of arresting the people that were selling the pot, they were arresting the people that was using the pot. How did that work out for you? Oh, that's right, y'all legalized it. See how stupid that is? Now, if you're going to pop fireworks, don't get your damn hand blown off, okay? Y'all be careful. But whatever you do, please, 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 whatever you do, do not call the police on kids because they're popping fireworks. I know they're getting on your nerves. Man, I wish I was in Hawaii. I was in Hawaii New Year's Eve, and man, the fireworks was a trip, dude. It was like World War III had broken out. Y'all saw some of the video that I sent back. It was unbelievable. I kind of wish I was going to be there again. But anyway. All right, so we got a few more minutes to go in the show. I want to quickly talk about Kamala Harris. Okay? Now, I'm going to read an article. It's part of the Washington Post, and it says why some African Americans are questioning Kamala Harris's blackness. Now, let me be honest with you. I judge a person by their acts. All skin folk ain't kin folk. Y'all get that, right? You're right, Jack. As a matter of fact, me and my brothers, we used to invade the Gibbs playground, and we'd have bottle rocket wars. We did. We'd have hundreds. In fact, I remember at one point we had thousands of bottle rockets. And that night on the 4th of July, we would have bottle rocket wars. Okay? I'm just saying. In fact, we would make little apparatuses that would shoot bottle rockets. We could throw them, shoot them, whatever the case may be. But anyway, let's talk about Kamala Harris. Okay. During the Democratic debate, Donald Trump Jr. shared a viral tweet that questions Kamala Harris's ability to address issues of importance to Black Americans because she is the daughter of a Jamaican immigrant. Now, I addressed this the other day a little bit. The tweet, which some suspect is from a bot targeting Black voters, read, Kamala Harris is not an American Black. She is half Indian and half Jamaican. I'm so sick of people robbing American Blacks like myself of our history. It's disgusting. Now, using it for debate time at the Democratic debate. These are my people, not her people. Freaking disgusting. Now, I don't think a Black person wrote that, okay? You all know what a bot is, right? A bot is something that is created by a computer program that is designed to send certain messages to certain people. That's what happens, okay? Online services circulated suggesting that the lawmaker is not African American because her parents are immigrants, and she spoke some of her childhood. She spent some of her childhood in Canada. During a February appearance on the Breakfast Club, host DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God asked Harris about that. Harris pushed back. I'm Black and I'm proud of being Black. I was born Black. I will die Black, she said. I'm not going to make excuses for anybody. Anybody. Y'all get that, right? So the question is, let me close this. Now that's Kamala Harris. She went on to criticize those who question her racial identity. I don't think they understand. I think they don't understand who Black people are. I'm not going to spend my time trying to educate people about who Black people are because right now, frankly, I'm focused on, example, an initiative that I have that is called the LIFT Act, that is lifting folks out of poverty. Notice she said lifting folks. She didn't say lifting Black folks. Okay? So what's the point here? I told you all yesterday. Now, I don't support Kamala Harris because of her politics, not because of whether or not she's Black or white. Kamala Harris, she has Black blood in her. She's Black. although she has a light complexion, she's black. She went to an HBCU. She identified with black women. Certainly, she is an AKA. But the question I always ask is, what have you done for us lately? Kamala Harris was in a position as the district attorney for the state of California to do some things for black folks, did she? We know that she put together programs that had black mothers being sent to jail because their children were truant, and she's never apologized. If you go back and you look at the history of Kamala Harris, if you look at her history, is there anything significant in her history that says that she actually did something for black people other than lock us up? That's why I'm not supporting Kamala Harris. That's why I'm not supporting Joe Biden. In fact, I've written off many of those legislators already, including Bernie Sanders. I was supporting Bernie Sanders last year. I'm not supporting Bernie. I told you, hey, my litmus test, white people have litmus tests all the time for their candidates. Is he against black folks? What has he done in his record to show that he's against black folks? Now, they don't say that, but they certainly have code words to suggest that. Is he against abortion? I'm going to vote for him. I'm just simply saying I'm not for Kamala Harris because of some of the things she did against black folks. And if you're not for reparations, you can't be. Look, I'm sorry. If I got two candidates, they both believe in the same thing, and it comes down to who's for reparations and who isn't. If one is black, who's for reparations, and the other one if one is white, who's for reparations, and one is black, who isn't for reparations, I'm going to vote for the white guy. He can be a Republican if he's for reparations. Now, you know that ain't going to happen. But I'm just saying, that's my number one issue. In fact, that's my only issue. It's not my only issue, but that's where we start. So, whether or not Kamala Harris is black enough, it doesn't matter to me. Whether or not she's black, look, the only difference in being an African American, an African Jamaican, an African Trinidadian, an African Haitian, an African South American, an African Brazilian, wherever you are, the only difference is between those places that I named was a damn boat stop. That's the only difference. And they've used that boat stop to pit even people in the Americas, black people in the Americas, against one another. Hey, I should not be hating my Jamaican brother. I don't hate my Jamaican brother. I don't hate my Haitian brother. I don't hate my South American brother. And I sure as hell don't hate my African brother. But you know what? White supremacy has pitted you against all of them to make you dislike them, knowing that if I can keep them separated, if I can keep them fighting against one another, if I can keep them killing one another on the streets of America, then they will never come together to overthrow us. I rest my case. Hello. So the conversation about who's black enough and who isn't, that's a white supremacist argument that we need to stop. I don't care. Look, certainly Barack Obama was black, right? What did Barack Obama do for black people? I rest my case. So, just because we could see Barack Obama's blackness meant that, oh, he's okay, he's black, but then we don't look at his policies and determine what he actually did for black people? That makes no damn sense. All skin folk ain't your kinfolk. Now, if you don't understand what I mean by that, let me just make it clear. Just because they got black skin don't mean that they're for you, because you have black skin. see Ben Carson. Hello? All skin folk ain't your kinfolk. Now, just because Kamala Harris has a great gift for gab, you know, Kamala Harris ought to be able to speak because she was a prosecutor. Just because somebody talks a good game. Look, how many of y'all out there who were when you were dating, you met that guy or that girl, they talked a good game. Then when you really got to know them, you realized that they were full of crap. Has that happened to y'all yet? Yes. Okay? So just because they look like you don't mean that they for you. Hello? Man, I love doing this show. 855-525-5683 is the number. Hey, if you didn't call it by now, it's too late today, but you can call me back tomorrow. We're on every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 2 p.m. It's called Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. And once again, I want to thank my interns for sitting in and listening to my jibber jabber. They're probably saying, man, that guy can talk. He's been talking for 2 hours. What you say? All right. I got to go. Just remember, Thursday and Friday, we're out of here. No show. Well, we'll have a show. We'll play the best of. Okay? Y'all have a great day. I'm going to try to get some fishing in before I leave as well, before I leave to go to Kansas City. Y'all have a great day. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. All righty. Does any one of you all fish? You're allergic to fish? Oh, Lord. I had a former friend whose son ended up dying from anaphylactic shock because he ate something that had a shrimp in it, and the people around him didn't know that he was allergic.
My grandma used to go fish every day.
Oh, really? Well,